All right, so I've had some people interacting with me and requesting that we do start doing a bit of a Q&A segment from time to time. So I thought, man of the people, we will try a Q&A podcast. So here we go. I put something out on the Instagram last week asking for some questions. Some people sent in some questions, replied to the story with some longer questions as well. So maybe we make this a regular fixture of the podcast, but I like interacting with you, and I've got some good questions here. So I'll start with this one. I won't mention names. Uncle Kirk. Last year, Toby's Estate in Sydney were rated the #1 cafe in the world. While I have been there and enjoyed the coffee, I can't say I rate it #1 in the world. I don't know if it's even #1 in its suburb, considering Stitch Coffee is down the road. What are your thoughts on this? And can you give us your top 5 cafes right now? All right, starting off with my thoughts. Look, Toby's Estate in Sydney is awesome. I've been there a few times. They've got a freezer menu and you can order like one of 20 coffees. And there's good value. You can get like a $5 coffee or a $30 coffee and they'll all be quite good. Is it my #1 in the world? I'll answer that in my top 5. Spoiler alert, no, it's not. But it's very good. And I take your point about Stitch Coffee as well. There's a lot of really good cafes. I need to check the criteria of that competition, how it runs, because it's going again this year, top 100 cafes in the world, I think it's called. But my top 5 cafes right now, so I debated with Johan, my business partner, and who's producing this. So I've got his input on some of these as well. So we hash this list out. So in the list will be Cocoon. So that's the Hidden Oriozaki sort of omakase bar in Tokyo, Japan. Amazing experience. Captain George Coffee in Shanghai. So current World Brewers Cup champion George Peng Yang, I think it's called, is his name. And I've heard nothing but good things about this one. I haven't actually been, but me and Johan really fighting on this, and we had to include this one. Oma Cafe in Jakarta. So this is right now, by the way. I'm not going 10 years back. This is right now. Oma Cafe in Jakarta. I just recently went there, got the full experience by Georges Audrey Wija, I think his surname is. Anyway, so he gave us the full suite and then went on to win the World Coffee and Good Spirits a few weeks later. So that was an absolutely phenomenal experience. It didn't just include coffee. That was amazing. There was matcha, and the way they used ingredients and incorporated them together was really, really interesting. I'm not going to include my own cafe in this, even though, maybe it makes it. Actual Coffee in Hawthorne. So World Barista champion Anthony Douglas is seen there from time to time. They're influenced by their other champion, Jack Simpson. They often have coffees on there from like Think and Deborah and stuff. I'm talking about their Hawthorne store specifically. If you're in Melbourne, I would suggest you go. It's kind of where their base of operations is. It's their flagship store. It's really good. But my #1 cafe in the world right now is Benchmark Coffee in the United Arab Emirates. So it's not in Dubai. It's just a little bit further away in a place called Sharjah. So it's a different emirate, which would be a province or a state to some of you people listening. It's the best coffee shop I've been to in the last 5 years for sure. I got there. So it's owned by the Archers guys. So the company that owns the whole thing, the group is called Archers, I believe. And it's like they don't even have a budget for green coffee. It's like their budget is as big as the United States defense budget. It's just like geisha after geisha after geisha, but then they make you like unbelievable quality cinnamon scrolls. They've also got another business called BKRY, which is like for bakery, but that was phenomenal as well. They do milk coffee well, they do espresso well, they do food well, they do filter well. They do everything well. Service is spectacular. Benchmark Coffee in the United Arab Emirates, that's like the best cafe in the world right now, if you ask me. All right, so second question. If I want to improve my home coffee game, what are some tips you can give? Number 1, use good quality water. Like the biggest thing you can do that is the most simple that you can do right now to make your home coffee better is just change your water. If you get water straight out of the tap, in some locations that'll be great. But if you buy some water that's in large supply and then pour it into the machine, that will work. If you buy distilled water and make your own minerals, that will work. Or even if you just buy a filter that you can pour your tap water into that filters your water, that will make a huge improvement as well. Some products you could use to add to it, like obviously Apex Labs, they're excellent. You can make your own minerals using Epsom salts or calcium and some of those other things. Read the Barista Hustle blog. That will be another tip that I'd say. Sign up for Barista Hustle, because Barista Hustle has a lot of online education, and like watch Lance Hedrick videos and all those sorts of things. Second, one of the other ones would be buy a good grinder. Now, one of the number one things you can do to improve, particularly home espresso, is to buy a good grinder. And you know what people say, you kind of hear those old wives' tales about like a lot of baristas say that the grinder's more important than the coffee machine, and it is. So a lot of the grinders are high performing relative to what the coffee machines are. So I would say, yeah, buy a good grinder. And my third tip on this would be make filter coffee at home. If you want to have world-class filter coffee and be a world-class like Brewers Cup level brewer, then you can spend like under $1,000 and have like some of the best coffee in the world in your home. Make filter coffee at home. You can even spend $500 or like $200 and you can have a very, very elite kit. So I definitely am an advocate for making filter coffee at home, and you use it so much more efficiently too. If you have an espresso machine with a grinder, then sometimes you have to dial in your coffee and, you waste some. It's so much more efficient with filter coffee. You'll save money, you'll have a great time, and, black coffee made well is excellent. So make filter coffee at home. What party are you currently running in Pokemon? And what are your top games of all time? All right, I love these non-coffee questions. So I'm currently playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's one of the ones on Nintendo Switch. Bit of a new format as well, because the game kind of relies on the focus is on catching Pokemon rather than battles. But my current party I'm running is Samurott, Alakazam, Infinite, Roserade, Togekiss, bit of a new direction for me, taking a fairy Pokemon. And then I've got Blissey there, who's kind of like my tank. She takes hits while I heal my other Pokemon. And then I'll give you my 3 most favorite games of all time. Number 3 is Pokemon Emerald. I think anyone who's played that game is like, yeah, that's a badass game. One of the best games I've ever played, if I'm honest. Number 2 would be Pokemon Platinum. There's just so much you could do in that game. You could catch like 493 Pokemon. It was sick. I just had so much fun playing that when I had it. And then my number 1 Pokemon game of all time is Pokemon Heart Gold or Soul Silver. You get 2 regions in that game, Johto and Kanto. So you get to like 16 gyms, you get to battle. You battle Ash towards the end. Nostalgia alert. That is like one of my favorite games of all time. Why do you care so much about the $12 coffee thing? You've said enough. It's time to let it go, bro. Yeah, you're right. It probably is time to let it go. And it does really frustrate me, but there's 2 parts to this. All right. Me as a coffee professional, knowing that someone's calculated it so incorrectly, but I actually studied journalism at university. And so I understand kind of, and I've interned previously. I've never actually worked as a journalist, but I understand how some of this works. And it's like verification has just gone out the window. And, and I was trying to rationalize my thoughts on this morning, actually. It's like, if someone can't calculate how much a coffee will cost by the end of the year using some models, and they get it like 500% wrong effectively in their answer, then how can I trust them to give me other news? And I just think it's just, that's why it annoys me, because they're kind of hurting the reputation of cafe owners and getting people all agitated about something that's just, completely untrue. List your top 10 coffee farmers and producers right now. Oh gosh. You guys are going to get me in trouble. Yeah. This is going to be in no particular order, but these are 10 of my favorite. So, and I made a point of including it. It's not just all Panama. So Santa Rosa in El Salvador grow great Pacamara. They'd be in there. Benjamin Paz from the Honduras produces some of the best coffee in the world. Daterra in Brazil. If you have not had Daterra coffee from Brazil, some of their stuff is absolutely incredible. Obviously, the Lamastas family, doing geisha in Panama, incredible. Esmeralda just clean sweeps the best of Panama. Like, do they just put themselves on the stand themselves as like an authority on coffee again or what? So I feel like because they've never leaned into anaerobic fermentations and things like that, they haven't had people use them in competition and things like that. I'm talking about like Brewers Cup and things like that. But then they go and just absolutely smoke everyone in the best of Panama this year with a 98-point coffee in washed and a 97-point coffee in natural. And it's just like, by all accounts, the coffees were absolutely incredible. So well done to them. Lojas beans in Colombia. I know it's not like a producer explicitly, but a lot of the coffees they do are experimental and really, really interesting and delicious. Mount Totumas in Panama. I had some of their coffee in Jakarta recently, and I thought to myself, my goodness, like, I don't know how I hadn't tried them before, but yeah, some of the best coffee I've ever had, really. Figure Jansen in Panama. I think no one in the world would disagree with me on that. It's absolutely incredible. Las Salesitas in Bolivia, the Rodriguez family, they do some incredible coffee. And then Tequesi in Bolivia produce like the wash geisha that I think is the best wash geisha in the world that I've tried. It's, absolutely incredible. So they're my top 10. Kirk, I noticed that you're a big-time USC fan. My favorite fighter is Khamzat Chimaev, and he is fighting for the title soon. I am married with one son who is 5 years old, and I'm wondering how I can secure myself an entire day of watching UFC without making her mad or feel like I'm not being a good dad. What would you suggest? So I'm probably more qualified to answer this question than any other question that's been on this list, to be quite frank with you. My girlfriend cracks it every time I watch the UFC because it's like a whole Sunday gone, right? And I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. What I would do is it's kind of like you need to like plan this weeks out. Take her out for a nice dinner, send her to a retreat or something. I would say take care of your kid on the day. He probably doesn't need to watch the UFC if he's at that age. Just like, I don't know, maybe iPad baby or something like that. I don't know. That's a tough one. If you're in, I haven't got a kid, so I can't answer that part. But like, I want to watch that too. So I'm with you. I don't quite know how to answer that in hindsight. Actually, I said I was the more qualified to answer this one, but I'm not dealing with a kid. So yeah, best of luck with that one. But that's going to be a good fight, him and Dricus, and I think I'm picking Dricus too. Who are your top 3 World Brewster champions of all time? Why are you trying to get me in trouble off other people? Like, I'm going to say 3, and then there's going to be other people that are like, well, why didn't you include me? I'm friends with some of these guys, but I'll answer it. I've always been impressed by Dale Harris. What he did, you don't really see on a bar, but I thought if you watch his routine, it was pretty incredible. I just thought he delivered his routine better than anyone I've ever seen in the world that's won the World Brewster Championship. Who else? Sasha Sestic kind of changed the game. I like those people that his impact has been felt so far beyond just the championship. Like, you can go and drink raspberry candy still to this day, and the carbonic maceration process is widely adopted across the industry. And it's like, his kind of impact and legacy will be felt for years to come. So that's another really, really impressive one. And then lastly, I'll go Mickey. I think I really liked what Mikhail did last year. I love all these guys, but I think it was something that I could take as a person and use it in my own personal life. And, I thought, that's really impressive. So I'll go those 3. Are you planning any more trips before the end of the year? And if so, where? I am. I'm trying to, but I really want to go to the World Brewster Championship in Milan. And I want to go back to the Middle East. I won't say where, but I'm trying to go back to the Middle East. So that will be, that is hopefully on my agenda. Do you think automation and AI will make baristas redundant in the future? No, I don't. Actually, I think they'll improve the value of baristas more than ever before. I think there's probably a circumstance where there's less barista jobs or, less, I guess, demand for baristas. But I think the demand for professionalism will be ever higher. This is just a prediction, but in a world where machines and AI kind of, assist us with everything and it's so abundant and they're everywhere, I think actually the value of barista becomes higher. So, say for example, you've got machines that do everything for you and Optimus robots in 10 years from now. And then you contrast that with going to a coffee shop where it's still very artisanal. Your barista's got a personal experience. It's not AI. They remember who you are and all that sort of things. In that kind of world, I actually think a barista has far more value. There's a automatic cafe, I guess you call it, just up the road from where I have a cafe, and I've never seen anyone there. I literally have never, ever, ever seen anyone there. I mean, using automation on the bar is like kind of essential this day and age I don't think many baristas would argue that like a puck press was a bad thing for the industry or that a machine that cuts off your shots by volume or mass is a bad thing. Automation's been a barista's best friend, really, and steaming your milk for you and all those sorts of things. So actually, I think they kind of elevate the barista role in a really good way. If you have to pick one of two cafes, one has really good service, but the coffee sucks, and the other makes great coffee, but has poor service, which would you go to? And which do you think will make more money? I'm probably going to the one with good service because I recently went somewhere that had really bad service, but the coffee was pretty good. And I came away from it feeling quite stressed. It's like you're in an uncomfortable environment and, they're understaffed and all those things, but the people were quite rude to you as well. So there's like a bit of animosity that generates from you within a degree. So it's like, why do I want to give you my money? The coffee hits, so it's one good thing, but why do I want to give you my money? I don't feel comfortable at all. And, the good coffee is not worth the way you're making me feel. And on that basis, I think that the one that does good service will always win. I think there's plenty of coffee shops in Melbourne that are quite successful. And frankly, the coffees, I've been there and I don't love it. But, the services, there's a common theme, and then that is that the service is really good and people feel better for having gone there. And so, yeah, I think that one will be better. And to quote someone that I've worked with before, who's Lachlan Ward, the now CEO of St. Ali, he said that people buy coffee from other people. So, and going back to the automation thing, it's like, well, yeah, the coffee's so ritualistic and it's so much more than just like a cup that you drink that tastes good. It's really all about people. So I'll go the one with good service and bad coffee for sure. All right, so that's 10 questions. I'll wrap it up there. We'll do this again. I like this, but keep an eye on our socials, and when I post on the stories for Ask Me a Question, you can reply to the story or put it in the little thing, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I like the questions. By the way, if you would like to support us, you can go to projectzero.coffee to purchase some beans. Project Zero effectively keeps this podcast running, and I want to give this podcast to you for free. So that's one way you can support us. Also, a special shout out to Time More, who's our sponsor. So Time More, you can get it. I was talking about home brewing before. You're talking about great value. Go to timemore.com. So timemore.com, check out your local distributor. That you can get yourself a world-class kit for $500 or cheaper for sure. And you'll be brewing world-class coffee at home. So check those guys out. Thanks for everything. Great week of podcasting. See you soon. Hooroo.